You're watching the Go Crying to Walk In podcast. I'm Chef Cholo, and you already know. As always, Go Crying to Walk In is powered by Hospitality News Magazine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can we go one more time?
Yeah, of course, brother.
All right.
You're watching the Go Crying to Walk In podcast. I'm Chef Cholo, and you already know. As always, we are powered by Hospitality News Magazine and Hospitality News Magazine Online. If you're like me and you want to have your finger on the pulse of everything hospitality, look no further. Today's guest is a chef, writer, restaurateur extraordinaire, and one of my good brothers, Ivan Sales. What's up, dog?
How are you, man?
How you doing, man?
Thanks for having me.
Long time, brother.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
We go way back, right, brother?
1985?
86?
86?
86? No, the summer of 87 or 86. The summer of
somewhere in
86 or 87. I was I was at the Culinary Institute of America. I was very young, so I probably made not the best decisions on what I was going to do, but the externship program was coming up, and, I wasn't like an adventurous kid. I didn't want to leave my house right away.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, where am I going to work on Long Island where I could stay at my mom and dad's house still? And there wasn't a lot of choices for internships. But the Boardwalk restaurant of Jones Beach, which I had never been to, I didn't know existed ever. I mean, I'm from Suffolk County, so I never really went to Jones Beach. I mean, everybody knows what Jones Beach is, but I never went there. And I filled out the application. I sent it. I mean, obviously it wasn't email, but it probably was real mail.
Yeah, snail mail.
Yeah, it was snail mail. And Eric Bunch,
Yep.
the big man himself, called me or whatever, said, when are you going to be in Long Island? I went down for an interview, and, there was this giant man, and I was like, oh, this is good for me, and we hit it off real well, and I did my internship. I started it, and I met some really cool guys. You were there. What were you doing there at that time?
I had probably I graduated by then. I was
You
probably
were
the
out of
sous chef.
culinary
I might have
school.
been the sous chef, graduated
You were
CIA. I did my internship there too.
You did?
Yes, and I got a great story about that. So about a couple of days before I was supposed to start, I was at the beach with my friends, and I decided to walk into the restaurant and say hello and say, I'm ready to go.
I'm going to do it.
The big man grabs me and says, oh, great, you're here. Gets me some
to
clothes.
work.
And we shucked clams to make chowder. He didn't steam them up,
No.
and he shucked them. So I shucked 10 bushels, never shucked a clam in my life, shucked 10 bushels of chowder clams to make chowder. My hands were bleeding and everything. And he said, great,
Unbelievable.
come in tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. That was my start at the beach.
I mean, that guy was a traditional chef in the likes where I went back to cooking school, and I knew how to fillet fish like no one in my class. I was the youngest guy in my class, and it was just because of the repetition. Eric got in we got whole
We got
swordfish.
We got tile fish, which I don't
whole
even see. Whole
guts
whole.
inside. I don't even
Yeah.
know where we got half that stuff.
I forget the name of the company, but anyway.
I don't. Yeah.
I still see him, butchering
The
a
guy
shark or a
Taught me how to
swordfish
do all of it,
with a pastrami sandwich in it. Taking a bite of his pastrami and then going in.
bro. The best.
an animal.
The best thing about Eric Bunch was it was a high pressure job, and
Yeah.
this was seasonally, it was a crazy place. And there were 2 times a year that we did something that was really insane. We would do the heroes for the Long Island Marathon, and we would make, I think we made 135 8-foot heroes. We would start after service on Saturday, work throughout the night,
all night long.
and that. So there was that event, and then there was the Captree Carnival, if you
Yeah.
remember that. And we would be making fish kebabs
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
for weeks,
Yes.
and putting them in the
thousands,
freezer.
thousands.
Now I only worked there that one season, but so we're getting ready for the Captree Carnival. We do all the work. We make thousands of gallons of chowder. We have to get it all over the Captree, and it's pouring rain that morning. So it's not going to be a good day. We have all this prep. Now, the big man was like an emotional guy, right? He was really into it. Now, I remember it's raining. We're all out there. Lorelli, you may be there. Maybe your partner
Rich,
now.
yeah.
Richie
Rockhead,
was
we
out
used to
there.
call
Joe
him those days,
Rockhead.
yeah.
We'll tell a story about him in a minute. And, It's pouring rain, so it looks like it's going to be a wash. The big man's like throwing up in a bucket, and he was like physically ill. It was bothering him.
Yeah.
And the sun came out like around 12 o'clock, and then within an hour the place was full. Well, now the big man, he just comes to life. Remember he used to like bathe in like the sinks.
Yes.
Take his shirt.
That's a vision I don't really need to see again.
He was like a
But
400-pound man. He was a
but
big
I do
guy.
remember it.
He would
Oh my
take
God,
his chef coat off. He would put his head in the sink, right? And he would whip a comb out of his pocket.
Yeah.
He didn't have a lot of hair.
You had a great memory.
Wing his hair back, and then he was like, "It's on!" And we would serve thousands of people a day at this.
Do you remember Harry, who ran the front of the house?
I kind of remember Harry a little bit. You're friendly with him still?
No, I'm sure he's gone. He was like one of those came from the old school. We came out of the waiters union in the old days. That's when they were still wearing the tuxedos in the dining room.
Yeah.
And he would make the zuppa anglaise, and he would
Tableside.
We had he filleted the fish tableside, and he was done at this point in his life. And Mike Mahoney was another manager. He's like, yeah, I think Harry's out there with a spoon. It looked like he just filleted the fish with a spoon and like.
People don't realize what a fancy restaurant that was at one point. It wasn't a snack bar. In its heyday, it was a great place. They had a big brunch. There was some characters. What about Pepe? You remember Pepe?
Yeah, I got what you need, baby.
I got what you need. The guy ran cockfights in
Puerto
Freeport.
Rico, I think. Well, in Freeport? He was from Puerto Rico, right?
He was from Puerto Rico, but like he lived, here on. I think
he had chickens.
He ran cockfights. He would bring in rabbits that he raised, and we would eat them there. Who was his son or his son-in-law?
Oh, I think it was his nephew, a tall, skinny guy.
Yeah, skinny guy. There was a cast of characters over there, man.
Oh my God.
Scarface. He went to college with you.
Yes,
what was his real name? Scarface. Chris.
Yeah. He's around.
You see that guy? What about Lorelli? You see Lorelli?
I saw him a couple of years ago. Chris, I haven't seen in years.
What about Victor Coonley?
No.
Never. I ran through him in like Oyster Bay one time in a restaurant. Yeah, he was a great chef.
There's actually a Facebook page, and I worked at the Jones Beach
Boardwalk
Restaurant. There is.
I'm going to get on it.
Yeah.
What about Steve Wexler?
Steve Wexler, I heard, worked for the schools. He became for the school districts.
Food service, or just like a teacher?
Food service. No,
like cafeterias.
He has. You remember Wendy? She was the hostess, gorgeous blonde.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we had done some construction. And I don't know what happened. Something must have died up in the ceiling, and maggots were coming down.
What?
And they were falling in her hair. And she kept saying like, "What is this? What is this?"
What?
And then like
maggots.
Maggots. Then she freaked out. She found out about
maggot brain.
Right. Then I don't know what her scream was louder, when she screamed about the maggots or when Wexler came the next week and threw rice at her into the hostess stand.
He was a wild guy.
He was crazy.
He was a wild guy. He was way too like punk rock music. I remember he was into things that I really looked up to him because he was so different from everybody.
And he was so
I knew.
mellow. He's like, "Yeah, I got the stock." He's taking a cigarette on the side by the stairs. I got the stock. I'll be ready.
Well, back then
people
used to smoke right in the kitchen. Unfortunately, then
I worked at a place where a cigarette went out on the brunch show with her.
No.
Yeah, the guy must have put it on the plate, served the eggs Benedict with the cigarette.
Ouch.
Yeah, that sucks.
Ouch. So a lot of guys worked there, and then you actually became partners in the future with one of those guys, with Richie.
Yeah, with Rich. Yeah,
what was Rich's last name?
Cinque.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, Italian. 25.
But we called him Joe Rockhead.
We did back then.
They had the biggest standing mixer I ever saw in my life at the Boardwalk Restaurant in the kitchen, and I saw him put 3 5-gallon containers of mayonnaise and 2 Volpacks of ketchup into it, and it was going to make a dressing.
Yeah.
And he didn't realize that the thing was on number 5. And we're all like there. For some reason we were
with the whip, I'm sure.
With the paddle. No, the paddle throws it.
Oh, God.
So he hits the start button, right? And then mayonnaise and ketchup just gets like thrown all over the place. The kid's covered. And Eric Bunch, he was he was kind of a bad guy at times.
Yeah.
He named him Joe Rockhead. He went crazy on the poor guy. And I felt so bad. The guy's covered in mayonnaise and ketchup. He didn't mean to do it. But Bunch never let him forget that. I'll tell you that.
So let me tell you, I guess the punishment that Bunch gave him, he has gone on. We had a CIA kid do externship, and
it's a transference.
And he sent him to Restaurant Depot. He was supposed to get Dijon mustard. He got grain mustard instead. And instead of telling us, he tried to put it in a Overcooked and whip it.
To blend it.
To
Doesn't work.
So every time he came, Rich saved it, and every time he came in, he made him eat a spoonful of the green mustard.
I think Eric Bunchroy, I think the big man kind of rubbed off on him.
Yeah,
on
so
that.
they whatever he gave him, he's dishing out.
So when did you and Richie start to get back together? Like, because there was a big gap in between Boardwalk Restaurant.
We had not seen, like you and me. You know when you see a true friend, you know, when you haven't seen him in 10 years and you see him and it's like you're with each other yesterday. So we hadn't seen each other in about 10 years. He was working up at Mims in Syosset.
Oh, Mims is a big place.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened. We ran into each other, started talking again, and then next thing you know, Rachel's Waterside Grill happened.
Right.
And
now, what kind of place is Rachel's?
Seafood waterfront.
Right on the Nautical Mile.
Nautical
right?
Mile, 26 years, yeah.
26 years on Nautical Mile. And you also have another place over there.
We have none anymore. Everything's
so
gone.
just as Rachel's.
Yeah, but we did open a place next door called New Orleans Seafood Company.
I remember New Orleans, yeah.
That was fun.
That pandemic kind of whacked that out on that?
We had some, unfortunately life happens and situations don't work. So through no fault of the restaurant or the customers.
It just happens, yeah. But Rachel's is a legendary restaurant.
But building New Orleans and doing New Orleans was great. We'd go for market research down in New Orleans a couple of times.
To.
Yeah, you have
had
to. We were going into restaurants. We wanted to do the muffaladas and the po' boys.
Right.
And they have some fantastic char-grilled oysters down there. They're sick.
Yeah.
So we would go into a place, order po' boys and stuff, take 2 bites, put them down, go to the next place, and just keep going because we're there for a weekend and we wanted to eat as much as we could.
You and Richie would go down there.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, how have you seen, like, it's 26 years on the Nautical Mile.
Yeah.
That thing changes radically. How have you seen it change from when you first opened Rachel's till today, let's say? Or let's just say right before pandemic, because everything.
Yeah. You know what? I've become a lot more involved in the community, Chamber of Commerce, with the mayor.
You're the president of Chamber of Commerce.
Not in past president.
You were,
Yeah.
right?
So.
You come for the dinner at Crust Hollow.
Yes, that's the Nassau County Council of Chambers. Yeah.
You wrote about that in your. So Ivan's also an author.
I wrote about you.
That's
I mentioned you in there.
Coming to Crest Hollow, you write about
yes,
it in there. Excellent book, really good read. If you're a chef or you're a foodie and you want to learn about the insides of stuff, pick this book up. Where can I get this, right, Ivan?
You can get it on Amazon.
Amazon.
Type in Overcooked in my name, right there.
Don't sleep on Ivan's book.
I don't know, where were we?
We were talking about the progression of, like the Nautical Mile and stuff like that.
A lot of people, with live music. So we've had issues with that because when I started, there's like 2 places that have it. Now, 10 places have it. And then people bought new houses there and built and a lot more buildings. So that was always the thing. We worked it out. We did a barbecue for all the neighbors.
It's
to
a
bring
sound issue over there.
It's a
for
volume,
the people that live there.
But that
I
was
went to
big
a club
change.
where we had headphones on.
Broncos used to do that.
Broncos.
They'd
Tropics it was called, I think, at the time. Well, no?
No, Broncos. Maybe Tropics had it too.
Yeah.
But the thing with that is people be dancing, but you had your choice of station. So you could be dancing with somebody who's dancing to completely different music with you on the headphones.
Coming off the DJ?
They had 3 different things you could listen to. So you could be dancing to different songs with somebody and not even know it.
And you could go all night because there was no volume issue.
Yeah.
But if you weren't wearing headphones, you're like a fool.
You're standing there.
You're looking around, staring at each other. Now, so, like, it's obviously there's this giant, place where people go and eat and party. I mean, like, I've only been there out of my mind. You know what I mean? Like, there used to be
a lot of people do that.
There's like a festival that goes on in the summer there, right?
There's
It's
two, actually.
Twice, right?
Yeah, once in the fall, once in the spring.
So I remember we went there on a boat. So we didn't even drive there. We were like on a boat all day. We went there. We parked at Otto's and then, wandered around. This is before you even owned Rachel. This is a long time ago. So, but recently when I went, it was a much nicer situation. It wasn't like it was in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, you got some more upscale restaurants. I don't know if upscale is the right word, but it's
more expensive.
Modern. More expensive. Everything's more expensive now.
I'm sorry. Not Rachel's. Very affordable.
Yeah.
Rachel's.
It's free now.
It's free?
Well, it's closed. I sold it. So.
Yeah, it's not yours anymore.
Yeah, we just sold it in August.
So you still doing the Freeport Yacht Club? Didn't I think you were doing something over there?
That was one of the first things to go. We decided to, Rich is one of my best friends. 26 years. It was just time for us to end. I see him all the time. So Rachel's did the catering at the Freeport Yacht Club for many years.
Right.
We've also catered at the Nassau County Bar Association for years. And it was time once things started winding down. It was time to wind down, and now I'll do something else.
Right. So
I'm
that's
looking-
it. You're out of the business.
No, I got. If this show was next week, I might have an announcement about a new place, but
Oh, so
it's a little premature.
So things are coming.
Things are
There's
coming.
things in the world. You're
Yeah.
not going to stop. You're a
No
young
way.
man.
No way.
You're going to write another book.
I am. I got 15,000 words written already.
And what about the honey and the beeswax? Let's not sleep on that. I'm going to get the beeswax.
Yes.
So
So
what's in here?
that is the wax from my hive. Lavender, peppermint, shea butter,
Peppermint,
coconut
shea
oil,
butter.
and vitamin D for your lips. Vitamin D or
Vitamin E.
E.
Vitamin E. And this honey, you have to you process this honey? How does this cook? Because I know it comes out of a comb.
Right. So you just kind of, there's like centrifuges for it. I don't have one. I just kind of scrape it into a thing and just like a screen and just mush it through. And there it is.
Now, people say if you have allergies, honey that would come from where you live and the area that the allergy is affecting you could be a very beneficial thing. You ever learn?
Yes, it is.
That?
They say that because you're digesting the pollen that's bothering you.
Affecting you. Right.
Something that people don't know though, if you are going to do that, a lot of people put honey in their tea. If you heat the honey over, I think 105, 110 degrees,
medicinal benefit
done.
is gone.
So you got to
take it right out.
So I've been, I make a lot of stuff from scratch. I make ricotta cheese.
Really?
When you have that warm and drizzle a little of that, when you just drizzle the honey on it, it's like you're in heaven.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So recently, well, not recently. I've been at Crest Hollow about 10 years, and I guess when I first started working there, I was in a meeting one day, and I work with some younger people, and they're always on their phones. Instagram was like hot at that point. And the guy's laughing at this thing one time, and he's like, "Hey, check this out! Check this out! This guy Krill."
Oh God!
And I go, "Who's Krill?" He goes, this guy does internet stuff or whatever it was, parties or whatever. And something happened in Freeport with this 50 Cent show that he did down there. So he's showing me the video. I'm like, "That's my guy. That's Ivan Sales."
It was.
Dude, you were like that clip of you talking about Krill and the 50 Cent and the topless girls.
Hired Krill, some kind of promoter Krill, or a promoter Krill, who had topless girls in the outside, viewable from the street, pouring champagne and whipped cream all over their bare breasts.
That was a viral. Do you know how viral that was?
That was in.
Do you realize that?
It was in I think a movie called American Meme, and I had that part with me was just an interview with like Channel 7 News, but it made the movie.
It made the movie.
And I got a call from my cousin. She's like, "Ivan, you're in a movie." I had no idea.
But not even the movie, just that
clip.
Was everywhere.
God knows, because they diced it to whatever.
God knows
what
guy
I really said.
Krill, he had a big Instagram presence.
Yeah, no, that was good. It was
That's
good.
how they print out the movie. Meloman Abe is going to fit that into our thing, so you're going to be able to see that when we're done. Abe's
Seriously, I'll
like
let you know the name of I think it's called American Meme. It's a Netflix movie.
It's a movie on Netflix.
And
But I
he's
have
got
the
a whole
clip.
I
have the clip.
Krill's got a whole section in that movie.
In the movie.
Yeah.
He's like a club promoter or something.
The Slut Whisperer, I think they called him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he would put shaving cream and whipped cream on women and everything.
Yeah,
it was
Slut Whisperer.
just
Great name.
Wasn't really. I didn't think it promoted family business on the Nordic.
Wasn't good for Rachel's.
Yeah, wasn't good for my business.
It
I'll
wasn't
tell you
good
that.
for what you do, Daddy-O.
Bring
your kids, bring your
people.
friends. Yeah.
Good for other people though.
Nah, it's not good. Hey, it's your boy Chef Cholo from the Go Crying to Walk In podcast. And if you're like me, you yearn for that old school relationship between purveyors and chefs. Nowadays, they got me going on a website, looking up my own orders, placing my own orders. I don't even know if the thing's going to get delivered the next day. I got nobody to talk to. If you're looking for that old school service with aggressive pricing, look no further than American Food Connection. What you do is you call the number at the bottom of the screen, you ask for Danny, and you get it straight. You already know.
But you know what's great about the mile? We were all friends there. So that was Bracco's. Great bunch of guys over there.
So everybody kind of gets along over there.
Yeah, everybody does.
E.B. Elliott's is a place
Elliott's,
over there.
Yes.
I knew some kids that worked there for a long time.
You got, I know Otto's has been there 100 years.
Otto's is still there, right?
Yeah. And Tropics is really the newest big deal down there. Well, actually, it's Bayview now.
It's
catering
called
hall.
Bayview, right? Yeah, but they're not still trying to do a nightclub out of there.
No, they do. They have the bar and they have some live music and stuff, I think, during the days.
Right.
But no, they cater.
And what about Hudson Yard? That's over there?
Hudson's, no, he never opened after the pandemic.
Didn't open after the pandemic.
Still empty. Anybody
Still
want to buy?
empty.
Anybody want to buy a restaurant? There's an empty one on the Nautical Mile.
Wow. Well, summer's coming. You
Yeah,
never know,
summer's
right?
coming. Get in now.
And they still got a big motorcycle presence down there, right? Everybody rides that bike. Everybody wants to be seen. I mean,
Then they ride
it's the
those other
beach.
things, the 3 wheels. What are those things called?
I rode one of those when I was in Newport. Yeah, that kind of, well, I call it the Batmobile, but that's not what it is. I told the guy, I'm going to get the Batmobile for the next hour. The guy goes, oh, no, it's called the whatever. I was like,
Whatever they
call
are,
it
I don't know what they call it.
I'm going to keep it at that.
It's a young man's game.
So do you use a lot? You into social media? You use it? We're
I'm
older
on
guys.
I used it. Actually, I used it more when the restaurant was open because
Yeah.
we would have all the restaurants, and we worked with a company that did stuff. And,
But like on your
now,
free time, you look
yeah,
at
now
stuff. I mean, you into
yeah,
that?
Yeah.
TikTok, watermelon popcorn.
See, TikTok, I don't.
You're afraid of
try,
TikTok.
I try Twitter. I have trouble with.
Twitter's too much.
I don't understand it, but
Well, because Twitter, you have to have something to say. Or you have to be, Instagram, TikTok, you could just be a voyeur. You're just
Right.
sitting there watching. You know what I mean? You don't have to say a word. Eventually on Twitter, you're going to want to say something, right?
yeah, nothing happens on Twitter.
But you don't use it like for fun. That's not your thing.
I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I guess. So where are you from? You're from Belmore?
Yeah.
Didn't you recently just get a tattoo on your toe?
Yes, from
Of
our
a camel?
friend. I might have. You can put that on a picture too if you want.
Abe, did you hear that? He has a camel on his toe. He has a camel toe.
Same guy, Ronnie. Same guy that does all your stuff, right?
All my tattoos by my brother Ronnie Bianco, who was on one of our podcasts.
That was, that's my first tattoo. This little camel.
Was that your first tattoo?
This little camel
You're
on
gonna
my
get
toe.
the moose on your knuckle next. Is that what he told me?
But I didn't know what I ever wanted to put. And I was talking to my partner Rich about it, and he goes, that's infantile. He goes, you've been infantile your whole life, so definitely do it. I was like, perfect, exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly.
So you're not going to tell us anything what's new? You're not going to give us a little inkling, my brother?
I can tell you we're gonna call it Nosh. Breakfast and lunch, one of these, the upscale breakfast and lunch things.
Closed by 5 o'clock.
3:30, dude.
3:30.
And I'm up early in the morning anyway, so what do I do?
Perfect. We had Terry Scarlatos in here from Toast.
Uh-huh.
Big.
Yeah.
Kids built an empire on that same kind of thing.
That's
And
great.
he said that's the best part of it, because we always talk about employees. Like, that would probably be the next thing I ask you. What do you think about employees? And he says, Chef, I have no problem filling spots because a guy could live a normal life. He could come in at 8 o'clock in the morning and go home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, a lot of service, these days, single moms, they're home for their kids after school.
Perfect, right?
And they're not working at night. You're working lunch. It's
So it's
great.
going to be in Freeport or Belmore? We're going to be quiet about that?
We'll be quiet
All
about
right, that's no
it. But
problem.
it'll be a little more west.
That's no
A little more west than that.
A little more west.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I like to see you keep things moving, man. You're a great guy, and I remember, like, when I was younger, I definitely looked up to you guys because, I was going to the CIA, and you guys were already out of the CIA, and you had that air about you. You know what I mean?
When was the last time you were up there?
Graduation day.
Oh, really? Oh, God.
believe it?
I was there.
I mean, I look it on Instagram. I
was
have
there-
kids come to me.
last
You know
year.
what I mean?
God, it's different.
When you went, you lived in Roth Hall.
No. I
you
lived
lived off
in
campus.
C-Dorm or something.
C-Dome.
Yeah,
I was
somewhere.
at C-Dome.
There was
People
A, B, and
still
C.
lived in Roth Hall, though.
People lived in Roth Hall, but it was like a prison cell. It was this tiny room. I think the bathroom was at the end of the hall. A community shower or something.
You're right.
Yeah,
There was
people
one.
still live
The
there.
final class, the final block, was happening when my first block was the final block of anybody that lived in Roth Hall. Chardell was in here. He actually went his first year in the New Haven campus and his second year in the Hyde
Oh,
Park
really?
campus.
When they
He
first
was-
opened?
He went to both campuses.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That was pretty cool,
That's
right?
pretty cool.
Yeah, and now the school's got like campuses all over the country.
Yeah, you do a 4-year degree. They have Texas. They have one in Napa. We went to the one when I went to Napa Valley.
you
We went-
visited?
I visited that.
It's amazing, I heard.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Greystone. it's
Greystone,
called?
yeah.
Greystone.
I don't know what the one in Texas is called. I think they have another one overseas.
Maybe. It's hard to fill them now, I think.
Really?
Well, if you remember when we went to college, it was like, there was like 3 girls in every class.
Yeah.
And most guys were really seasoned chefs. I mean, I remember being like, what are these words they're throwing at me? And like, all these guys knew the words already. And they were like, yeah, there's that. I mean, everybody was helpful, but
Yeah, I
it
was right out of high
mostly
school.
Me too, right out of high school.
And a lot of guys had quite a few military guys too. That were cooks
A
in
lot,
the military.
A lot of
the
military
the
guys.
Navy or the
well,
Coast
they got
Guard.
the GI Bill,
Yeah.
paid for the college. It was an expensive proposition back then. It was like $100,000.
God knows
in
what
the
it is
80s.
now. What do you think it is now? Who knows?
No, I can't imagine what it is now.
But
Regular college is $40,000 a semester.
so I had a dog in my dorm room, which you're not supposed to have.
You had a dog.
A dog.
You brought it up there?
Yeah.
How'd you get
Whatever.
away with that?
I got away with it for a little while. So Sea-Doo, I think Sea-Doo is right. Lake Volute.
Right
remember
on the lake,
All right,
yeah.
so February, the lake is frozen. I let the dog out. The dog runs out in the lake. Went down a little stream, fed it. So in that back corner,
Yeah.
it's water.
To go up to Metz's house, that little
Yes.
stream.
Dog falls in the water. What do I do? So now I'm out there. I lay on the ice. I get my fingers in the dog's collar. I pull him. Bam! Now I'm in the water. Both in the water.
Security's on.
There's
you.
a guy. No, not yet. No, because you know why? Because I was in AM pantry. This was like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God! It's 5
before
o'clock in
class.
the morning.
Before class, right?
No, it's still dark.
Yeah. Yes. So there's some guy on the end of the lake, and he's holding like a branch. He's like a foot out on the. And he's
Trying to
going
help
like,
you.
Yeah, but I'm like 40 feet that way. I'm like
In
dude,
Lake
you can walk out.
Volute.
In the winter. Can I curse on here?
We could curse.
All right. In the winter, right?
Kid show.
So. So then I get out. I'm freezing. I get the dog. We get in the room and take a shower with the dog. We're freezing. I make it to class, and everybody's talking about this guy that was swimming in Lake Volute
Oh,
that
my
morning.
God.
I'm like,
They didn't
this
even
guy's
know it was
swimming.
you.
No idea it was me.
I didn't go
Some
swimming.
guy was swimming in Lake Volute this morning.
But yeah, no one knew you had a dog in your room.
No, that was the end of my. I shipped him off to somebody.
That was it. I thought it was tough when me and my roommate cut down a Christmas tree in the woods and dragged it into our dorm. I was there when the Mets won the World Series, and the guy, I was in new dorm, and it was like it had like a courtyard, so all the windows would look into the courtyard, and every day I'd see this guy with this Boston banner hanging out of his window every day. And then the Mets win the World Series, beat Boston, and me and two guys went up to this guy's. I remember we went up to his room, we knocked his door down, we ripped his banner out, and then we burned it in the middle of the courtyard.
Did you? That's awesome.
I still talk to Lou Rosenblatt. Yeah.
Is he still a Boston Red Sox fan?
He's still a Red Sox fan. It's funny because he's from Pennsylvania, but he was like a big Red Sox fan. I don't know how that happened.
I've always been a Met fan. Been a
You go-
Giant fan.
You going to opening day?
I can't find 2 tickets together.
Right now?
They only have single tickets.
Right now, it's impossible to get a ticket. You
Single
can get
ticket.
standing tickets, and you can get single tickets.
Me and my wife did standing tickets for I think a World
I'm
Series.
going to get standing tickets.
They during the regular season.
Yeah.
It's fine because they have like ledges. You can put your beer on.
Hang around.
They oversold the standing tickets for the World Series. You couldn't even get in. It was crazy.
I mean, opening day is such a fiesta anyway that I don't mind getting a standing ticket, but I have to go. I've been going the last 10 years. And it's weird because my cousin, he always takes care of the tickets. And then in November, he talks to his guy there. Oh, yeah, Kevin. He buys like 40 tickets. And, we sit way up top, but it's all about the before.
You're walking around, you're having
It's
fun.
all about the
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
And 3 weeks ago, he calls me. He says, "Oh, man, the Mets call me. We're not getting the tickets." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, since the popularity of the season," he goes, "so many people are buying season tickets that they're not." And if you buy any little package of season ticket, even if it's like a 13 game, you get opening
Yeah,
day.
I used to buy like an 8-pack or a 12-pack. You get like the Met Yankee game. You get the opening day.
So they're
and you get-
pushing these other sales. Hopefully, brother, maybe a week or two before the game, some tickets will go on sale. Be able to get opening day. You're gonna go with me. We do a big tailgate.
That's fine. I'd love it.
We're gonna have honey.
We'll make mead or something. Who
We're gonna-
knows?
Mead.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
We can make mead.
No,
I
absolutely.
don't know how to do it, but we'll figure it out.
Mead's for like wicked nerds. Beer.
That's the Ren Fair.
Yeah,
the Ren
beer.
Fair. The Ren Fair.
They
Drink
call
mead.
beer guys beer weenies, but if you're into mead, you're on the next level of nerdness.
Rich calls them beard tards.
Beer tards?
Beer
Yeah.
tards.
Well, I ran a brewery, and the brewers, they refer to them as beer weenies.
Beer weenies,
That's
beer
what they
tards,
call
yeah.
people, beer weenies. So you watching TV in your free time? You check out The Bear? What?
No.
What about The Menu on HBO?
You know, I never was.
Do you watch TV?
I
Are
never.
you watching The Housewives, Ivan? Is that what you do?
Yeah, I have to fight with my wife. You know what? I was never into the cooking shows. It just, to me, it's just I don't know.
You're
it's
right.
just not real.
I'm glad you
It's just
said
not
that.
real.
I'm glad you said it that way because, and now you're going to have homework when you leave here. There is a lot of cooking on TV. It's one of the hottest things. We all know.
Absolutely. Everyone wants to be a celebrity
Everybody
chef.
wants to
Wouldn't
be
you
a
and I
chef.
love it, right? Yeah.
The guy goes, "You don't watch a show without knowing where the star of the show went for the day." Never told restaurant names. Chefs are appearing on these. Succession, that's a big one.
Yeah.
The chefs are on it, but the Hulu came out with something called The Bear,
Right.
and it's like a 7-part series, and you must watch it because everything you said about why you wouldn't watch it is why you want to watch
That's
this one.
good. Then that's good.
It puts you in there. You know, you could tell the guy's trained. The characters in the show are real. The action in the show are real, and it's the coolest story ever. The Bear, and then there's The Menu on HBO. You don't watch The Menu? The Menu's out of control.
Yeah.
The menu's premise is the chef is so popular, and he's gone to such a level. The restaurant is on an island. You can only take a boat to get there. You can only eat there once a week or whatever it is. But the people that can afford to eat there disgusts the chef. He can't stand who the only people left he could cook for don't care about food, only care that they spent the money to go to the restaurant.
They went to this place that nobody can go to.
So what's his idea? He vets the dining room. He vets each person that's going to come here that night to where he decides they deserve to die in the restaurant. And the idea is that he's going to kill everybody in the restaurant, himself, the staff.
This is a show?
This is a movie on the HBO. It's called The Menu.
Okay.
Is that the guy Ralph Fiennes? From like those Dumbledore movies. I think he plays Dumbledore in whatever it's called. My kid's gonna kill me. Abe, to me, everybody's Dumbledore. I don't care if it's The Hobbit, the other thing, the Dungeons and Dragons. Everything's Dumbledore. But whatever. The guy was in that. The guy that's in this movie. At one point, he tells the one guy. He says, the chef says, now, some people will never get to eat here in their life. Other people would be lucky to eat here once. He goes to the guy, how many times have you eaten here? The guy goes, 15 times. So he must have been like one of the richest people in the world in the movie, right? He says to him, what was your favorite thing you ever eat here? The guy comes up blank. He goes, what was the last thing I fed you when you were here? The guy comes up blank. Somebody comes along, takes the guy's hand, they cut off his fucking hand. They cut off his hand or his finger or something.
Oh my God!
You gotta watch this. There's gonna be homework. You're gonna be home. I'm gonna call you tomorrow.
Monty Python. It's a flesh wound when he chops his arm
Amelia
off.
flesh wound.
Amelia flesh wound.
It's not. It's actually not funny. But the idea that the chef, and we're all chefs, and you can understand that the people that work for us need to really believe in us. Okay, they need to believe in everything that we say because things are moving very quickly. So when you tell somebody to do something, they can't really question it. Okay, they got to do it. And they got to do it with passion. He has everybody in this restaurant believing that this is the way it has to go.
Oh, get out!
The sous chef puts a gun in his mouth and shoots himself because he feels like he hasn't done enough. Abe, you're gonna have to put the big spoiler alert before we start this one. All right. We did it before, but I need the spoiler because if anybody wants to watch it, but it's been out for a while, so I don't think anybody's going to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, anybody's worried about being spoiled. So, Boardwalk Restaurant, big man Eric Bunch. What about guys like, I see in your book, Ed?
I remember him, we were all going out, right? And you remember the elevator? And there was the elevator shaft at the bottom.
At
we're
the
all
bottom.
among.
Disgusting.
So we're all going, closing up, we're all going out. And there's Eddie at the bottom of the elevator, cleaning the bottom of the elevator shaft. And it's like, we're going out with Eddie, what are you doing? He goes, I get paid by the hour.
He didn't care.
He didn't care.
He didn't care.
Stay there for 6 hours and sweep that stuff, spoon that stuff out of the bottom of the elevator shaft.
Cast of characters over there, brother. Big time. You talk to anybody from there? What about the little guy? I can't remember his name. Never mind.
I saw a guy. I run into people. I saw this guy, Lee, little redheaded guy.
You see Lee?
Yeah. Now he's bald.
Is he a chef? Is
No,
he still a
no,
chef?
Completely got out of business. Nope. I thought so. There was Lee and Jay. Jay was the big guy. Lee. Yeah. He's a bald short guy, but I think he lives near me. I saw him at Leslie's Pools.
Get out of here! Yeah. But he's not a chef anymore.
No, I forget what he said he did.
He used to work at like the Quilted Giraffe or something, right? Didn't he work at like a really cool place? He had some cool experience. He was a CIA guy, I think, too, no?
Maybe.
I think so, yeah.
Again, like I run into people every now and then.
Sweet guy, quiet little guy.
Yeah, some of the girls on Cold Side. Oh, do you remember? Were you there for Mike Vi?
Of course.
So me and Rich went to visit him a couple of years ago in Chicago. He's got I think he's opening his third restaurant over there.
Get out of here. He was a great guy, Michael Vi.
Mike's a really good guy.
He was the manager in the front.
Yeah. So we went to we went to a Cubs game. Went to see Mike.
And he was like the brother of Stevie Vai, the guitar guy.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Tom Schaudel knows him very well.
They're friends. That's right. They grew up together.
Yeah, they grew up together.
It's funny because I never mentioned anything, and so I guess my wife's brother's a big Steve Vai fan, right?
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Oh, I'm going to visit his brother Michael." He goes, "Oh, now what? You're gonna tell me you're gonna see Teddy Van Halen too?" Because he's like, "What?" Because he didn't believe like this guy had a brother that I knew. You know. He's like, next thing you know, you're gonna say Teddy Van Halen.
That's not
So,
bad. That's
but,
not bad.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. Good guy. His sons are. I met when he was his little kids. His sons are now grown. They run the
Yeah,
place.
They do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, great guy, Michael Vine. I remember him, man. That was a cool place. I remember one time we were doing brunch over there, and someone comes in the back. They're like, oh my God, these weightlifter guys came off the beach and they walked the brunch buffet, and the one guy picked up the whole top round and he took a bite out of it and he put it down.
He ran away with it. The guy took it down the beach. The cops tackled him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I go home. I go home that day, and my father's brother, my uncle, is at the house. And he's like, "Oh, we had a fucked up day at the beach today. So and so, I forget the guy's name, Iron Mike or whatever he called him, went in and took the beef off the carving." He says, "I go, that was you?"
Oh, you know him?
He was with the guy. Like my uncle was
Oh,
with
your
these
uncle.
two guys, and they were like on the beach, and the one guy decides what he's gonna do. Like I knew the guy that happened that day.
Some crazy stuff. used
You
to
remember
happen.
that, right?
Yeah.
The cops tackled him.
The roast beef went tumbling down.
Those cops were aggressive on the beach.
They were
were
those cops.
aggressive.
Now, I'm sure New York State Park Police is very different today
They just
than it was.
Then it was then.
Yes, those were all like, I don't want to insult them, but they were like
Yahoos, bro. And they only
didn't
had that
really
little,
work.
They
Didn't
had
work
that
out.
little bit of space. That was
Didn't
it.
work out at
In
other places.
Other jobs.
And they used to come in, and we used to have the service bar in the kitchen, and they
Yeah.
would fill their thermos with coffee, and flirt with the back bartender,
all the time.
and walk out with a thing of scotch and go on patrol.
They would raid kids' cars like with they would bring bongs and pipes. They would be like, Eric. They bring it for the big men. Hey, we brought you this. You can put it through the dishwasher and clean it.
I remember they used to take kegs from us and have their party at Gilgo.
Yeah,
They used to take.
man.
They used
Yeah,
to take.
that was a wild group of guys. They lent us the paddy wagon to deliver the heroes, and we were drinking all night. I
Yeah.
remember the big man was driving the paddy wagon.
Yeah.
We had the heroes in it, and he had the lights on. They were like, Eric, don't turn the lights on. Yeah.
Those heroes.
Long
I
Island
remember
Marathon. Nobody realizes.
They used to close. They used to close the whole Loop Park. Is that the Loop Park?
Yeah.
Loop Parkway, Wanto Parkway. And
Yeah.
everybody used to run this. I don't know why they stopped it.
They don't do that no more.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
So.
Anyway. Well, brother, it's been awesome talking
All right.
to you.
It was excellent. It was a lot
Thanks
of fun.
for coming in, man. We're hitting back on the old days, and a lot of luck with the new spot, even though it's a big secret.
We should have done this next week. I could have announced. But
I
it is what it is.
would have known. And please make sure you go out and get this book. If you're into restaurants, you're into that kind of stuff. There's some awesome stories in here and really cool stuff. And you get great writing. You really have a really good way of putting stuff on there and making it interesting. And
Thank you.
That's not easy, brother. We could
Took
all
me
sit
4
here,
years. 4 years. To write.
we could all sit here and talk.
Yeah.
But writing, I think things in my head and then I write them and I go, what is that?
I can't even read my
Did
writing.
I write that?
When I make notes and I don't understand. Yeah, you go back tomorrow. I don't understand what I wrote.
Wow. Well, like I said, you've been watching the Go Crying to Walk In podcast. I'm Chef Cholo, and you already know. That's it.